My name's Tom Mullen. I'm the Chief Data Officer for the County of Riverside, California. We're a large county in Southern California, 10th largest county in the nation. My role as the Chief Data Officer is to facilitate our departments migrating their data online where appropriate. We have a lot of operational data, we have financial data, we have geospatial data, and we've moved much of that online now and will continue to do so over the coming years. Riverside County has had a long partnership with ESRI working with our spatial data. And around that maturity, we've grown this open data program. We have land use data, and we have criminal data, and we have financial data, and we have all the operational data around animal services, around health data. We started with all of our spatial data and had published maps and apps for many, many years. But we did not go through the process of looking at how do we communicate our financial data, how do we communicate the other operational data in a similar fashion and tie it all together so that the general constituent can see the total picture of what's going on in their community. What we've done is launched the Socrata platform and have launched the open expenditures, open budget, and have now posted up all of our budget information for the current year and 5 years of historical data. We've launched our expenditure data, similarly, current year minus 5 years. We've got over 20 million rows of financial transactional data all the way down to the individual transaction so that you can see where we've spent the dollar. You can see the trends of expenditures by category or by department or by type or by vendor. That level of transparency really adds to the quality of data that the constituent gets to see. Our next step is to match that financial data with the operational data so that you can begin to tie together the outcomes with the expenditures and likely also with the revenues. Where does the money come from? Is it tax revenue? Is it fees? Is it fees for service? Are they forfeitures? Why and how are the revenues coming into the departments? And how do those revenues also tie back to the services that are delivered? Whether it's regulatory services, whether it's calls for help, whether it's community services, whether it's health services. As a large county, we have a very diverse set of services, from social services to criminal law, justice, district attorney, public defender, to running a large hospital and multiple clinics, to a large transportation network and a very biodiverse land use with over 140 endangered species and related habitats. How we grow the community really ties back to the data. And several years ago, we had launched a multi-species habitat plan wrapped around a transportation plan, wrapped around a general plan amendment. And all of that was based upon how do we grow the communities in an open fashion? How do we communicate with the constituencies on where the land use has to occur today and where does it not need to occur in the future so that we protect those species, so that we protect those sensitive lands, so we create open space for the future. All of that is based on geospatial open data. And now we want to take those same principles and carry it forward into the rest of our operation. And that'll be the challenge that we have going forward, to gain access and depth to that operational data for the constituents. I think from a financial data transparency, it's an outstanding tool. The ability to drill down as a constituent, to be able to walk through the data at your pace to the level of detail that you need or are interested in finding is fantastic. The ability to search, you can search by a vendor and find that vendor if that's what you're interested in. You can search by a category and being able to get down to that level of detail on your pace is, I think, really important. From an open data perspective, the visualizations that are in place today and growing tomorrow, I think really allow folks to conceptualize and better understand the data that's published. That context is huge. The perspectives tool, I think, will be very important going forward the ability to take the charts and the graphs and sort of the things that you and I might find interesting from a data analytics perspective, and add the operational context that folks need to better understand, well, why is this piece of information even important? And then to be able to find out, where can I get more information about it? What services or who is responsible for this data or this set of service? That's where I see the platform taking us. That interaction, that context, and the ease of use wrapped up around really a user experience that's improving and being consistent from platform component to platform component going forward. Makes it easier for someone like myself and the folks on my team and those in the county that are working on the data elements, as well as the end users, whether they be internal or external constituents. There's a general conservative approach to release of data, not because folks are trying to obscure what is occurring, but it's a prioritization of effort and time and money. Many of the departments, many of the business owners, the data owners, see that there is some value to releasing information, and all departments and every organization ends up responding to requests for data through public records requests locally. But they are also very specific generally, wrapped around a particular incident or case or issue that is more detail-oriented than what we would normally release in an open data set even. So that balance of getting to a large data set versus a very specific response, I think is still being worked out, still being prioritized within our business units, within our data owners. I think going forward, balancing that analysis, that prioritization against the financial constraints of delivering a high level of quality service that folks expect, to expanding the level of service that is offered to the unincorporated communities and the incorporated communities of Riverside County, I think really is the balance point that folks are working from. And if you have a limited dollar, your operational service requests are going to come above your prioritization of an open data effort. So that's probably the biggest challenge that we see internally, just balancing that prioritization. In Riverside County, I think it's new. I don't have a large constituency built in that's clamoring for particular data sets. We end up responding to individual requests from citizens, but they're relatively limited at this point. And so I wonder a bit if that's on us to better share with the community the data that's now available to them. Certainly our efforts need to improve on that communication, and I think it will over time. I think we can definitely tell them and share with them and educate them on what's available. But we don't have a large vocal constituency that's looking for advocacy around a particular data set or type of data. Those that have in the past have found avenues and found ways to get to it. They have the data they need and know how to get to it. Interestingly, one of our largest constituencies for data consumption across our platform, whether it's spatial or non-spatial, is the real estate industry in general. And whenever we have a hiccup in our data streams, they generally are the first to let us know that something's down and something's broken. They run their business on the county's data. And so from that, it's been a good partnership to hear what do they need in order to better drive their business. I'd like to see it evolve, our open data program evolve, to where we're really tying the financials with our operations, where we can see where our revenues are coming from within our community, where we can see where our highest expenses are within a community. As we as government look for efficiencies in our processes, our ability to tie our expenditures to our program service deliveries, whether it's regulatory or whether it's voluntary, or whether it's a community service that's required. The ability to see those cost centers and see those high cost centers allows us to better address the inefficiencies that may exist. Why are certain neighborhoods more expensive to serve than others? What is it that we are doing from a service delivery, and what is occurring in that community? The data can help us discover that, and the data may help us to be able to solve that. So that's what I'm looking for going forward with our open data program, to be able to tie all those components together.